and ain't no wannabes here. With some not so nice advice for your writing career. To be clear, no punches will be pulled, but the punch may be spiked. How they like before they get on the mic. To my left, we got the mighty Mer Lafferty, and if I piss her off, believe me, she'll come after me. And her co-host, Matt Evan Wallace, on the right. Yes, she may be half as hype, but she can take him in a fight. So settle in, folks, buckle in and boot up. Time to meddle in a way to make your writer shut up. It's hard work, but the perk is that it's fun and exciting. Facebook will still be there when you're done writing. Ditch Diggers! Ditch Diggers!
It is season 8, it is episode 1, and we're back with the Ditch Diggers, Mer Lafferty and Matt Wallace. And we're coming to you live from the Betty White Memorial Welcome Center, and it's me and Matt together again. Hey, Matt!
Together again! It's happening! It's popping off! The return!
Yeah, big time. Big happy times.
And it actually started off a little dour because Mer suggested we come to you live from the Betty White Memorial Welcome Center, and I was like, that seems really disrespectful. Betty White's not dead. And then Mer's like, Matt, Betty White absolutely is dead. And then I remembered Betty White died, and I got sad all over again. So that was the tone right before we went online. Oh, there! Look at me! Look at me in art form. Is everybody seeing that?
Oh, damn it. No, that's not what I meant to do. See, that's what I'm saying.
You blew the big reveal.
I blew the big reveal. Did I? Numbers Ninja, yes. That's the answer I have for you. That's all. Please. Yes, thank you. Numbers Ninja texted me, and I thought, I will go check that out while Matt's talking, and then showed everybody the thing. I'm so good.
Yay, Matt. People are excited about it, right?
Yes, it is. It is awesome Matt art done by Numbers Ninja to match the Tiny Mer art. Anyway, we are the Ditch Diggers. We do a podcast that is dedicated to teaching people about the business of writing, because in all the workshops that tell you how to perfectly create beginnings, middles, and ends, conflicts and plots and twists and characters and motivations, they don't tell you how to get an agent. Or if they do give you advice on how to get an agent, they don't tell you how to fire an agent when you have to. And that is also very important.
No, too much about saving the cat, not enough about what to look for in your contracts.
Or what kind of kitty litter to buy.
I guess it's not. Is that a metaphor? Is the kitty litter metaphorical?
Yeah, well, saving the cat is the writing, but going through it's all the boring shit nobody wants to think about.
Yeah,
but we are not boring. We are interesting.
Dealing with the poop is the stuff we discuss.
Exactly.
So it was more an analogy than a metaphor.
I really have not missed you. Like this, not missed you.
I was just trying to clarify. I wasn't criticizing.
Mm-hmm.
It was good. It was good. I'm the one who was slow to get it, so it's my fault.
Okay.
It was actually a really smooth improv that you did just then, and I ruined it by dissecting it and picking it apart, and I apologize. I'm trying to grow as a person and admit when stuff like that is my fault. That was my fault. It was good. It is the kitty litter. The kitty litter was a good analogy.
Thank you.
I think we should rename the podcast the Kitty Litter Podcast.
No, definitely not.
Definitely not?
We will get cat people. And I don't mind cat people, but if you tell cat people that there's something involving a cat and it's not involving a cat,
you got a lot of pissed off cat people.
A lot of pissed off cat people. You got to, if there are cat people here, which it would be delightful, we're not going to lie and say there's cats involved, because there's not. Look, kids are asleep. I'm not saying anything bad about cats. My point is, if someone said we had cats involved with our podcast.
I love how 5 minutes into our first episode back, we're having to clarify that we are not talking shit on cat people.
Or cat haters.
We're not cat haters.
Oh my god.
Or cat people haters.
Preemie. That's inappropriate. Stop. No puns.
Cat Wallace. Preemie's calling me Cat Wallace.
Oh,
that could be my jazz name.
Ah, okay. So
with my smoky jazz voice, that could be my jazz name.
No Christian writing. No. I'm
Mighty Purr. I love it.
I will kill you if you say that.
We could be a jazz duo. Cat Wallace and Mighty Purr. Could be like Duke Silver.
It's clear I need to have a lot of buttons up for the no emoji and the, why did I pressure Matt to restart this podcast emoji, which we don't have yet, but I'm pretty sure Numbers Ninja will make me one. Using my... Numbers Ninja does not like me using the mod emote for evil, and they consider evil being me reacting to puns.
No, I mean, that's everybody's prerogative.
Yeah.
Or pun-rogative.
Damn it.
Oh, my God, again?
Yeah, well, I'm screwing up. That's the thing. All right, so... How is everybody doing? How is you doing, Matt? How is you doing?
You know, it's a crazy ramshackle world out there, Mer, and it hasn't abated at all since we've been on hiatus.
Really?
If anything, it's only gotten worse. Right?
Really? So you gotta... That's sad. It's gotten worse, but you're still willing to come back to us.
No, I mean, this is one of the things that's good, you know?
Yes, it is good. It is a good thing.
We have our friendship. We have an altruistic goal of trying to, educate people through our experiences about this minefield of a business that is freelance writing.
Mm-hmm.
We've got our people in the chat here, our listeners. You know, this is one of the things that's worth salvaging.
Yes, you are correct.
So I'm happy about that, but everything else is fucked. So, I mean, in a general global context,
mm-hmm.
like personally, professionally, everything's going fairly well.
Good.
For me right now. I want to make that clear. Like,
that's great.
Everybody's healthy. No one in the family has gotten the COVID yet. Actually, I'm sorry, that's not true. My wife's sister and brother-in-law did get the COVID, but they're both okay.
Good.
Rolling on, getting to write creatively every day, and that's the dream, right? That's the dream. And once you realize that, there are no bad parts to it whatsoever. It's just all gravy and champagne.
Ew.
Yeah, that's as I said that, I was like, no.
No.
Independently, those things are good, but you don't want gravy champagne.
All right, here we go.
Although I'm sure you can make a champagne
giant Matt.
gravy. They have champagne vinaigrette.
Matt.
Oh, look at me! See, if you're listening to this, you're gonna have no idea what we're talking about.
Yay! It's like Matt all the way down.
Whoa! It's like Mattception.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's me.
Yes, this is Numbers Ninja art. It arrived this morning. I'm delighted with it. I hope Matt is too.
I am absolutely blown away. I look so badass in this rendering. And listen, I'm not trying to brag here, but I've had some people draw me before. I've had Howard Taylor draw me.
Really?
Mercenary Schlock, yes. I've had, as they say, the fan arts. And I have to say, this is by far and away the coolest rendering of me I've ever seen.
That's awesome.
I can only imagine I'm burying my enemies in here. Oh no, it's because we're the ditch diggers.
Yes,
that's why I have
Numbers Ninja. It's okay. I wanted to show it off more than anything. Don't worry about the transparency or anything. I'll fix it up to make it appropriate. So, yes, art by Numbers Ninja. I will stop covering real Matt's face.
That's okay.
But now it's like if you piss me off, then I could just summon Tiny Matt and turn your mic off, and then the show is mine.
And then just talk to Tiny Matt. You have to do Tiny Matt's voice then, so let's hear the voice you're going to do for Tiny Matt.
No.
Now you've backed yourself into a corner and you have to do an impression, Burr. How about that? Hoist it on your own petard.
According to you?
No, but that really...
me.
Numbers Ninja, thank you for that. That was amazing, sincerely. I want a t-shirt with that on it, and I'm going to go around to everybody pointing out that's me on the t-shirt. I'm going to be that obnoxious.
That's easy.
I'm going to be obnoxious about it. And not even care, because that's
what do that.
I look like a swollen Johnny Cash, and I mean that in the best way possible.
Yeah.
So yeah, Mur, I've been circling back.
Tell us, okay, if there's anybody new here, welcome. My name is Mur Lafferty. That's Matt Wallace. We've been on hiatus for quite some time. This is a Hugo-winning podcast, and we've decided to bring it back. Matt's been very, very busy doing 3 writing jobs?
I mean, it depends. I write full-time for a video game studio, and we are deep into production on the next game, which you're never allowed to talk about.
Right.
I've probably already said too much, but that's the problem with being a video game writer, Mur, is the reason there aren't more famous video game writers right now is because you're never allowed to talk about what you're working on.
Mm-hmm.
Ever. Like, it's such a secret-heavy... Not secret, but, nobody wants spoilers. Like, you keep everything really tight until you announce things.
Are you working on the new Dragon Age?
No, I'm not working on the new Dragon Age. I think I can safely say that. I am capable of doing it if they would like to reach out to me. I don't know why I'm always the one who has to reach out to them.
Yeah, true.
They could do some of the work, but yeah, no, that's my pitch to Dragon Age. You guys do some of the work. Hit me up. It's amazing I have a job. No, but I've been writing full time for a video game studio for several years now, working on a very exciting project. In addition to doing all of my own books and projects, of which there are many. And I tried to keep all the balls in the air for a while there, but I realized I couldn't, so I started to look at ways to sort of reduce my workload and thus my stress and give myself more time to live the life.
Yes.
Because art should be a support system for life and not the other way around. I know that because I read Stephen King's book.
Right.
I read half of Stephen King's book.
So, I want to say...
I kind of skimmed it, honestly.
This is the book that Matt was talking about.
That's the latest one, yes. That is The Supervillain's Guide to Being a Fat Kid. That is my new middle grade novel that just came out at the end of January.
It's awesome.
I appreciate that, Mur. Mur gave me a blurb for it because Mur is awesome like that. But yeah, I'm exceptionally proud of that book and very excited that it is out there in the world now. Getting a lot of great feedback.
That's great.
A lot of adults saying, I wish I had this when I was a kid. A lot of kids saying they're happy they have it now. So that's the whole reason you do it, Mur. I mean, also the money.
Yeah.
But it's one of the top 3 reasons you do it.
Yeah.
So I've been doing that. I'm a middle grade author now. I have been one for almost a year and a half.
Which is still baffling to a lot of people.
It is. It's not the way you would have seen it going for me if you knew me prior to this. But it turns out that I have things to say to the kids, and I am capable of not cursing profanely every other sentence.
Actually, does your first draft have a whole bunch of profane words in it that you then edit out in second draft?
It does not. I am able to put myself in a headspace where I don't curse at all.
That makes sense. I shouldn't have doubted you because you have grown as a person since the last time you were here, and Numbers Ninja was, I believe, 4 or 5. So it's been a long time since you thought you were you thought you were censoring yourself.
Yes, I thought I was censoring myself. Apparently, I was not at all. But you and Jim saw the effort, and you respected the effort so much that you were too polite to tell me, Matt, you're still cursing every other word. Please stop.
I thought I did tell you, which is when you said, "Oh God," I thought I was.
Yeah, but you didn't tell me till like years later.
Years later?
It was a while later. It was a while later. Like past when it really mattered anymore. Like Numbers Ninja was pretty much cooked at that point. It didn't matter what I said around them.
All right.
For the record, Numbers Ninja turned out pretty damn great, despite my profanity around them when they were 4 years old.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I think it all worked out for the best. If anything, they probably learned from me in some way that I really couldn't define if you asked me to define it. But we'll go with that.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, so I know it's a trip for people who have known me and read my stuff for a long time. But yeah, I'm really enjoying writing middle grade novels. I like it a lot. I like getting to connect with an audience at that age who, I still remember being that age. And I didn't really read middle grade books when I was of middle grade age because there weren't a lot that I found that I could connect with. So I'm just trying to write those books.
Yeah.
Which is what this last one was definitely about. So
yeah.
But and concurrently, going back to the theme of all the balls in the air, like I'm still doing my adult epic fantasy series concurrently with the middle grade books I'm doing now, and we're in deep in edits on Savage Crowns, the third and final Savage Rebellion book, which hopefully, dear God, will be out next year, and put an end to this whole thing. so I can go back to living my life. But no, I'm proud of that too, and that's still going on. So I will still be writing adult books. I just will probably see if I can't do maybe like one adult book and one middle grade a year going forward. That's kind of the tentative plan.
Yeah. Numbers Ninja would like to say she's not a ham.
I know. Did I say?
You said she was fully cooked.
Oh, right. Well, I mean, that's just clever wordplay.
Numbers Ninja, respect the clever wordplay.
I'm an author. I do the words.
Mm-hmm. You are the words.
We all fully cook at some point. It's not just you, Numbers Ninja.
Yes. Anyway,
Many would say I'm overdone. Oh, man.
It's been good times having you back.
Can smell that second Hugo Award just around the corner. Just around the corner.
That's something else you're smelling.
Yeah. It's ham.
It's ham? Ham that we're smelling?
Because Numbers Ninja, it was a callback.
Right. No. I just want to make sure I heard you correctly. I am also a writer, believe it or not.
You are a writer, man. You write many things.
I've been working on the edits of Station Eternity, and I've been working on the drafting of Book 2, which is not titled yet. So, yeah, that's pretty much me. That and podcasts and editing Escape Pod. Co-editing, I should say, because
I feel like you're playing at speed a little bit there, which is slang for not playing as well as you can. I learned that from Ricky Jay.
Doing what?
You're underselling. You're like, I write and I do some podcasts, and like I don't feel like that really covers the grandiose empire you have created with your streaming and your podcasts and your Hall of Fame career in that vein. Well, literal Hall of Fame career.
That's a topic for another time.
It's not a topic. I'm just saying. Like you don't. This is something we have worked on this over the years, Bert. It's like you gotta put it out there more, man. You gotta own it more. You gotta be like, I'm Murr and I do all this awesome shit.
All right, I am Murr. I have been nominated for the Hugo, the Nebula, the Philip K. Dick Award. I have won a Hugo Award. I'm in the Podcasting Hall of Motherfucking Fame.
There you go.
And I co-edit a magazine that is a 3-time Hugo nominee. Oh, and also, Divvy and I have been up for editor before. So that is how awesome I am. I have to breathe into a bag now.
No, that was amazing. And I think you need to play that back for yourself every morning when you get up.
I need to.
That's the energy you need to go out in the world with every day because, damn it, all those things are true, and you have earned that kind of swagger.
I think I should just when I greet people. That's what I should say, even if they know me.
Absolutely, you should put all that on a T-shirt and always wear that T-shirt.
Yes. Oh, Lord.
That would do the speaking for you.
It's been a long time since we've talked, and we're not talking about anything actually relevant here.
We'll get there. No, we are. We're setting the stage.
Okay.
It's been a long time. It's been a long time. We're reintroducing ourselves and what we do, and there's nothing wrong with that. So, and also we're catching people up on what we've been doing.
True.
So it's like a twofold purpose. So.
You're right.
We've been writing the books, we've been doing the streams, we've been writing the video games, we've been doing what we do, Murr. And while we've been doing what we do, Murr, I'm about to segue.
Go for it. I'm ready.
While we've been doing what we do, Murr, the industries in which we write have been doing their thing as well. It's gone on unabated in the world of publishing and various other enterprises that are writer-driven. Mm-hmm. And boy, have we missed some stuff.
We have. There's been all sorts of exciting stuff going on. Can't think of anything right now. No, there's the publishing mass exodus, which seemed to all happen at once, even though apparently none of the people involved coordinated this.
Yeah, there were quite a few editors and support staff who announced they were leaving some very prominent roles in publishing. And I feel like it caused a fair amount of panic, perhaps unwarranted. I really feel like what it should prompt is us to look at the jobs that are being offered in publishing and how those jobs are supported by publishing.
Well, I'm hoping the publishers panicked. Because
no, the publishers can absolutely. I hope. Yeah, I always hope publishers are panicking because they deserve it. So
yeah, because
that should go without saying. No, I feel like what I meant was I think people in general, authors, there was a little bit of panic, like, oh my God, is the sky falling in the publishing industry?
I think we do that a lot.
We are. We're an erotic bunch by and large. So we're very easy to set off, and that was something that did seem to do it. But at the end of the day, it's like the industry is not going anywhere. We should definitely examine the industry and what and some of the causes that were outlined by some of the people leaving those roles, and make sure that doesn't happen again, and make sure we're getting quality people, not just in New York, which leads back to the whole remote position thing we discussed a long time ago, under other things, and just again supporting the people that need the support. But I feel like when you start with the sky is falling, a lot of the important nuance, the important stuff that we actually need to look at gets lost in the tidal wave, as it were.
I misheard you at a moment there, and I thought you were going to be talking about the new authors, and then I thought, well, even though you didn't say that, I think it's important because new authors don't know how the dirty side of the industry, the shit we talk about here on Ditch Diggers. They're not going to know that. Like, if somebody tells a newcomer that they don't need an agent and they give them, like, the 75 reasons why, they're going to be like, oh, well, that's a good point, and then possibly go off and try to start a career without an agent and wonder why their friends are talking about their German deals and their French deals and their Chinese deals and their Hollywood deals when they don't have anything, because that's a lot harder to do without an agent. But also, when people panic, honestly, it's clickbait a lot of the time. And I'm sorry, I'm gonna go on a tangent. I saw the stupidest clickbait in the world today. The title was TSA made fun of my Stream Deck. Stream Deck is like the Nintendo Switch, just from Valve and Steam, and it's larger than the Switch. So, and when they told the story, it was the TSA person went, "Is that a Switch?" And they said, "No, it's a Stream Deck from Valve. It's new." And she's like, "It's too big." That was the TSA making fun of this writer. It's too big.
Listen, man, I am always forgiving the TSA shit because I hate them so much.
Yes.
But that is just, yeah.
Yeah, anyway, I'm very sorry.
I think the reason that resonates so much is because it's symptomatic of a much broader reoccurring issue with things like that. And I think that's how we approach everything now too much these days, we're all reacting to the clickbait headline version of events rather than the events themselves.
I know that I saw a headline about feral hogs in California, and I immediately blamed Preemie, and I didn't read that article.
No, that was true. That one was absolutely Preemie's fault. Yeah. So that was the one instance where the clickbait actually lived up to the genuine story.
Yes.
That's not true at all.
But it brought to light the fact that being an assistant editor is apparently the worst job in the world.
Right.
Or, close to it with the amount of work that they do. And one person's public exit letter mentioned that you guys don't know technology and you're not trying to learn because you have assistants. And now the assistants, on top of everything else, are required to either do your technology stuff or teach you to do it, which is not in their job description. And they were just like, I'm done. One person had one of their recent books hit the New York Times bestseller list, but management said, "Oh no, you won't be ready for a promotion for another 5 years."
Right.
And I think a lot of this is larger corporations have this structure that it doesn't require someone to do a good job. It requires you to check the boxes in a mysterious list that you don't know.
Right.
Work for X number of years or publish X number of books or something. Or
be X thing that you fundamentally aren't. You know?
And that is how they choose to promote people. And if you're awesome and you work hard, that's not that doesn't get paid enough. So, or rather,
and I mean, and like we already knew publishing wasn't a meritocracy. But it's just like highlights how deep that gets. It's not, and I mean, when we talk about that, we tend to focus very much on authors themselves, but that also applies to support staff and editors and assistant editors working within the publishing system as well. Yeah, which is a huge problem. And I mean, God, you highlighted several things there. I don't even know where to start. So, like we said at the beginning, publishing industry the sky is not falling, it's not going anywhere. But talking about, what that assistant editor said about the technology and their unwillingness to learn it and placing that burden on support staff at a lower level, like you do start to see cracks in a system that will continue to grow over time as more people get dissatisfied with having to take up the slack on these things, right? Mm-hmm. And then you also see, what we talk about all the time as authors, which when we work with even major publishers, we end up having to do many jobs that are not our job, or at least I get pissed off about that a lot. You end up having to be your own marketing rep and your own PR person to an extent. You end up having to do all these things that are really unpaid labor that have nothing to do with writing books that you would expect the publisher to do. And a lot of the times, I'll say this for myself, I do it too, I lose sight of the fact that I'm not the only one who's being made or asked to do that. Yeah. Like within the publishing system itself, publicists, assistant editors, they're always being asked to do, 5 jobs that aren't in their job description. Right. Like it's an industry-wide problem. And that's what I think more than anything ends up placing that burden back on the authors, is because the support staff that you're given is stretched so thin. They have so few hours and so few resources that's why you end up having to do so much more work than you signed up for. And you don't realize that you end up, you can only be mad at the people Like, you only know so many people in the process, so many people publisher. When the problem most of the time isn't the people it's the support and the resources those people are not being given by the upper tiers that you're never going to touch as the lowly author in the process. And that, I think, is really a fundamental root cause of a lot of the author complaints and a lot of the author woes that you go through. Yeah. Yeah. So really, I'm saying blame the CEOs. Yeah, sure. Let's get them on the phone right now.
All right. How many other 4 now?
Also, maybe 2 or 3 companies shouldn't own every publishing imprint in the world. Yeah. That's something else we could probably talk about. Because I don't think that helps any of the stuff we're talking about.
No, it doesn't. Because then you've got 2, when one company absorbs another one, then you've got 2 red tape bureaucratic nightmares colliding, and you may suddenly have different objectives to your career that you didn't have before, because suddenly when you were Random House, now you're Penguin. Now you're Random Penguin, which is really what they should have called it.
And nobody wants to be a random penguin.
No, we want to be specific penguins, y'all.
We want to be specific, meaningful penguins.
Yes. Starvin has a question. For an author, are there options besides self-publish and suck it up and do all the extra jobs the publishing house should be doing?
I mean, you could do both. You could be a hybrid of those two things. No, really. I mean, it's just such a difficult question. Well, I think you have to. Here's the thing: you have to start with being willing and able to speak up as an author. I will say that, because a big problem I do see with authors is they accept what they're given without protest, complaint, or question.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's a huge problem. Like, whatever promotion, whatever marketing support, whatever editorial support they're given, they're just like, well, I guess this is all there is. Yeah. I'll just take it. And, I mean, hopefully you have an agent who will monitor this stuff, too, and be like, no, wait, we should probably be getting more support in these areas. But even then, agents, that can be an issue with agents, too. And then agents only have so much stroke themselves. But you have to be willing as an author to push back against the lack of support you're getting, and at the bare minimum, like, get everything they're willing to give you, or that you can argue out of them. Yeah, and that's one of the very few things you control is your response to it. Yeah.
Also, as Preemie says, if you if they are very excited about your book and or you're a big name author, well, that's the other option, which is they will put stuff behind you. They will invest in your the actual production of your book. And
that's that's one of the frustrating things.
Yeah, I feel weird talking about this because it still feels like I'm I try to be honest in my podcast without professionally killing myself.
Right.
But I gotta say that my most recent solo book, that wasn't supposed to be a pun of any kind, my personal IP, I'm experiencing a different publisher and I'm in a different place in my career now, and I'm watching what's going on with the release of Station Eternity compared to what was going on with the release of my last personally created my IP book. Why can't I think of a good fucking word for that? My last, if you're new, my last two books were other IP. They were Star Wars and Minecraft. So I'm talking about the book before that. And it's very different. It's very different what they're putting into, what they're believing this book can do,
right,
compared to what they believed the other book could do. And, yeah, I'm not still bitter. I hold grudges. One thing I realized as I get older, I'm holding a lot of grudges. And I'm suddenly like, I have a grudge against a company that I left in the last century.
It's very hard not to. Right?
Yeah.
And it's almost like when you work with a publisher that does support you properly or even half properly. Yeah. It really casts a light on how forgotten and cast off you were by publishers you may have worked with previously. Yeah. I don't think there's anything wrong with being angry about that. You can't get mired in that anger. You have to move forward. But yeah. But you do have to, from the positive side of that, you do have to take from that's like, oh, wait, they actually can promote my book. Mm-hmm. They have ways and means. Like, when they want to, when they're invested, they can absolutely do this. Because the mindset I think you tend to get it is, well, publishers just don't or won't market books ever. And that's not true. And as Preemie pointed out, if you're one of their upper 1% authors, they can throw the money at you. They'll buy Kindles and send them to celebrities with your book on it, to get them into it. There are any number of resources that they have. It's just they allocate them very selectively. And, you do have to understand your place in the hierarchy of things, because you can't go to your publisher and say, well, you gave this author who sold 40 million books this, and I should get the same thing, because they're gonna laugh you out of the room. But I do think there is a fair way to distribute resources and an argument to be made for, hey, I'm a new author, you guys have invested this much into me, I don't feel like the resources are being put into marketing the book to match the investment you've already made. Like, what can we do here? There's a conversation to be had. Yeah. Yeah.
Christian Writing says, is there a way to gauge how much support you'll get from a publisher before you sign the contract? And Preemie says, the advance is a pretty good gauge. That makes a lot of sense. My first advance was what I understand as fairly good for beginning writers. Those two books did not perform the way the publisher wanted them to, so my third advance was smaller by a third. And then that was the book that did well. And so my next deal was better. So this next deal being better, if they didn't believe in the book at all at the last publisher and it did really well, if they didn't believe in the book, they weren't going to put a lot of money behind it, and they didn't. So that's what. It is interesting. Thank you, Preemie, because I wouldn't have thought of that. The advance implies how much how well they believe you're going to do, and how much they're willing to put behind you. It's your advance is an investment for them.
Yeah. No, that is absolutely a good gauge. The other thing that occurred to me while it was going on, though, and this is just through personal experience and knowing other people, is there's a lot past that too when you get into the internal politics of a publisher. And sometimes the editor that you're working with makes a lot of difference.
Yeah.
Actually, not a lot of times. I think that's actually fundamental and something that gets overlooked a lot. Within the publisher, the editor, who your editor is, makes a huge difference to the resources that are going to be allocated to your book, because your editor really ends up being your advocate within that publisher. So if you get, say, an editor who isn't that invested in your book, that's going to affect it. If you're working with an editor who loves your book and believes in it a lot, but is very low on the hierarchy of editors and at that publisher, and doesn't have the position to go after and get the resources for you, that's going to have an effect. If, position isn't the problem, but they're not as aggressive as maybe they need to be, that can have a huge effect. There's a lot more that goes into it than you realize when you get into this, and it took some really bad experiences for me to kind of get that, because my agent and I, we took a book out and we had a lot of offers for it, and I ended up making a decision based on the editor, because they were an editor I wanted to work with. They were a senior editor at this publisher that had a really good track record. And I felt like I had an editor, I had someone who was going to be able to advocate for me within that structure and, get me the things that we needed to make the book a success. A year into that process, we were looking really good as the release loomed in the distance. You heard words like lead title, and there were all these plans in the works for promoting it. And then suddenly my editor gets fired inexplicably one day. And all that shit that was being talked about before, that evaporated, man. None of that crap happened.
Yeah, that's definitely something you have absolutely no control over.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah,
going back, I would have made the same decision I made based on the information I had at the time.
Yeah, I had something similar in my beginning when we had more than one offer. I made my choice based on two things. One was basket accounting, and one was who the editor was. And then my editor also got laid off. But I am happy with who I'm working with. She's very... I think she's doing a really good job on the editing part, and then she's doing a good job on the advocating for me part.
Yeah, those are two completely separate skill sets and two different things too. It's like you have editors who are really good at their jobs, but not necessarily the strongest voices for your book at a publisher. And I mean, it's messed up that it has. I want to say, like, point blank, it's messed up. It has to be that way.
Yes.
Like, I'm sorry, any editor has to fight and scrabble and go to war internally just to get you the basic materials and things you need to promote your book. I don't think it should be that way, but it very, very often, with few exceptions, is. That's just how things work. There's only so many resources, only so much they're going to give, and it's always a squeaky wheel kind of thing. So,
Kay Kibbe wants me to explain basket accounting.
Yes, please do.
Basket accounting is a tricky little thing that publishers have started to do, which is, let's say I get a $90,000 3-book deal. So that's really $30,000 per book. My first book comes out, it does okay and makes me $15,000 toward my advance back. My second book comes out and is a huge hit. Not a huge hit, but it's a hit. And it makes like $40,000. Now, with basket accounting, I don't get any checks yet because I have not made $90,000 back for my advance. Without basket accounting, I would make $10,000 because my second book with the $30,000 advance earned out. So it's whether all the sales of all the books count towards the one advance, or if you treat each book as having the same advance, but you make money faster. And, at the end of the day, if you earn out, it's all the same thing. But I think it matters a lot more to an individual writer than it does what are the 4 goddamn biggest, the huge publisher people. So that's basket accounting. One publisher would not bend on that, and one would. And so I liked the editor, and I liked the fact that they negotiated with me over that. So that's what I chose. Yeah, it's hard to... Oh, good. Thank you, Kids Are Asleep. A good thread on accounting is publishing from Sam Morgan. Sam's an awesome guy. We had him on Ditch Diggers Live several years ago.
We did, yes.
Good guy, good agent. So yeah. Speaking of the, are we done with how terrible publishing is inside? Oh wait, no, I did have one other point. So
Make another point there.
I think a lot of times people see, like, Ace bought my book. Ace bought my trilogy. Ace is this. Yes, it's under. I don't remember which one it is. I've got books with like a lot of different places. Leave me alone.
Is it Macmillan?
I think it's Penguin Random House.
Penguin Random House?
I think. It's Random Penguin. Anyway, but that's not the point.
Random Penguin.
The point is that
Random Penguin.
people see that as, there's this one entity that I sold my book to. But that's not the case. Because your editor will buy the book, will acquire the book, will work on the book, and then they have to take or if they want the book, they still have to tell sales and marketing that it's worth it. So you could have someone completely on your side, but then they have a marketing meeting and they're like, we don't like the sound of that. We don't know how to sell it. And so the editor has to come back to you and say, sorry. And then, so it's like, you sell it to the editor, but then the editor has to sell it within the company. The art director is somebody else that they need to sell it to see if your book is worth whatever budget that they want to put on the book to hire an artist. So you got to have sales and marketing believe in you. You got to have publicists believe in you. And so just having an awesome editor on your side may not be enough. And that's annoying thing.
It is, but it's absolutely. But I'm really glad you bring it up because it's a part of the process you don't ever really hear about. You send a book to an editor likes it, and editor buys it.
Yeah.
You get this perception of editors as kind of godlike figures within the industry and within the process, which really it's not. It's just that the editor is the only person generally you're ever going to deal with. Mm-hmm. You don't go to what is called the acquisitions meeting with the editor.
Yeah.
Which is where your book lives and dies. And yeah, I just as you were saying that, I was thinking about I have it like my middle grade editor is a great guy. He's a senior editor at the publisher. Believes in my stuff very much, but he has been limited several times for what he could do for me by going to acquisitions and talking to the marketing and the sales department. And it's like if I wanted a better advance on the next contract or whatever. My editor could be like, yeah, man, I want to give you all the money in the world. I think you're totally worth it. He goes to sales and marketing, and they say, well, based on the track record so far, we don't feel comfortable doing that, so no more money for him. Which is totally fair, but point being, like, he's not the end-all, be-all in the process. There are tons of other people that he's going to have to answer to. And you do have to remember that when you go into this, so. Yeah. And again, you never hear about that part of the process, because we mythologize so much as authors, as an industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Matt, we are at 1 hour. We wanted to talk about one other thing. Do we want to try to hit that?
I think maybe we may have to make the return a two-part affair, Mer.
Okay.
Because I think we need to leave room for the rest of the things we wanted to catch up on for while we've been away. But
yeah. For better or for worse, we are limited to an hour because of Matt's previously mentioned day job. So we will be here. We're going to be doing twice a month with Matt. The first and third Monday of the month, we'll have Matt Wallace as the co-host, and then Ursula Vernon, Cameron Hurley, Alistair Stewart, possibly Chuck Wendig will be filling in on the other dates as guest hosts. So I am just really glad we are back.
Blockbuster names right there. Is
yes.
that an all-star lineup or is that an all-star lineup?
It's an all-star lineup, dude.
I don't even know why I came back. I feel like you're good, honestly. You really need me.
I need you.
Chuck and Ursula.
That's all people ask for. When's Matt coming back?
Oh,
yes.
I doubt that very highly, but thank you. No, I am happy to be back. And so I will, for the time being, we'll see how things go. But for now, I will be back twice a month, and then we're going to have some really thrilling hosts filling in for me when I'm not here, and I'm very excited about the whole process. So
yeah,
we streamlined this thing for all of you so that you've got weekly Ditch Diggers content, and I will be involved with it going forward. And we are back. We are back.
We are back. If you want to find out more about me, merverse.com is the place. I'm on Twitch. I also stream my other show, I Should Be Writing, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And that's twitch.tv/MightyMer. And if you want to ask us a question, you can email me, mightymer@gmail.com. And make sure you put Ditch Diggers in the subject, because I need to know which show you're asking for feedback. Matt, shill your stuff.
Yes, you can find me on the Twitters primarily, Matt F. and Wallace. You can visit my website for information on all my books and all the things that I do. It's matt-wallace.com. And the newest book I have out is A Supervillain's Guide to Being a Fat Kid. It's a middle grade novel, ages 8 to 12. I'm very proud of it. My other middle grade novel you can go and pick up while you're in the mood is called Bump. It's about a young girl dealing with grief, going through discovering the pro wrestling industry. It's very much about my childhood coming up in the pro wrestling industry. So check those things out. And also the Savage Rebellion series, the first 2 books, Savage Legion and Savage Bounty, are out now. And the third and final book in the trilogy is scheduled for next year.
You can support us at patreon.com/MightyMer.
Ditch Diggers!
Theme song by Devo Spice, devospice.com.